Tomorrow, I'm traveling to Afghanistan. This has the potential to be one of the worst decisions I've ever made in my life. Just a few days ago, an American who had been captured by the Taliban was set free after 2 years in confinement.
The 65-year-old was held by the Taliban in Afghanistan since December of 2022.
Was he an American soldier? No, he went there as a tourist, just like I'm about to do. I am going to Afghanistan for the food. Although many of you might not know it, Afghan food is iconic. But here's the thing, most of the people who have had food from Afghanistan didn't have it in the country. They had it from some refugee or migrant who traveled to another country and opened up a restaurant. But for me, I want to go straight to the source. But beyond the food, I'm dying to know what it's really like for an American to travel there and what it's like for the people living there now, especially now after the Taliban has taken control of the entire country. If you didn't know, here's a quick history lesson.
Sparked by the 9/11 attacks, the US launched a military campaign in Afghanistan in October 2001, meant to dismantle Al-Qaeda and topple the Taliban. Over the next 20 years, more than 800,000 American soldiers were deployed to Afghan battlefields, the last of them left in August of 2021. Soon after, the US-backed Afghan government collapsed and was replaced by the Taliban. The new regime enforces strict Islamic Sharia law, which includes banning music, movies, and all non-religious entertainment. It also denies women education beyond primary school and prohibits them from appearing in public without a male guardian and full body covering. Still, Afghanistan promotes tourism, even as governments around the world warn travelers to stay away due to ongoing threats of terrorism and kidnapping.
The same fixer I worked with in Iran is working with me now to travel to Afghanistan. He was able to go ahead of time to Afghanistan and procure filming permits. So technically, I have legal documents that say I can film and make videos about food and culture in Afghanistan. But to be fair, I also had permits in Egypt, and they took away all my cameras. So the permit, while good to have, it doesn't guarantee anything. I would say a marker of a successful trip in Afghanistan is they let you leave, and that's what I'm hoping to do by the end. Okay. Right now I'm in a taxi on the way from my house to the airport, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't absolutely pissing my pants right now. I'm freaked out. The other day, just when I was feeling better, I read a post on X posted by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He said, "The United States is pleased to welcome home Faye Hall. The president's commitment to the American people is clear. We will not rest until all Americans detained in Afghanistan are brought home." So, there's more stories of more people being released, but the fact remains that there are people who are still being detained or held hostage in Afghanistan.
Before stepping foot in Kabul, Afghanistan's capital city, I have a 17-hour flight over which to rethink my decision. Starting in Vietnam with a 7-hour layover in Dubai to add to my anxiety.
In not too long, I'm going to be boarding my final flight, arriving in Kabul, Afghanistan. I guess the first point something could go wrong would be at the airport. I've got my visa, but then there's customs, then there's them wondering why I have so many cameras and lights. It could be an issue.
The final flight on Fly Dubai.
All right. So far, so good. Going through immigration was interesting because the immigration official recognized Minnesota, and he said his brother lives in the USA, and he's a very friendly guy. Now, a step I didn't expect, they had to see our passport and our ticket, and we have to kind of fill out a registration form, but it should be no big deal.
We're not actually in Afghanistan until we cross customs, and in a not-so-camera-friendly nation, our lenses, lights, and light stands have the potential to get unwanted attention.
So we've made it through everything. We made it through customs, no big issue. They asked if I was a journalist, I said no. They checked a bag quickly, and we moved on. All good. So from here, we're gonna wait 1 more hour for our fixer, and then we're gonna head to the hotel. That's when I'm really gonna get my first visual of the city and of what it's really like to be in Kabul. Already here at the airport, I can say not a lot of tourism, at least from Americans or people who look like me.
This is the production van for the week.
This drive to the hotel is my last chance to mentally prepare for the mission ahead.
This is an honest question. There have been different stories of Americans who have been captured here, who have been let go recently. I mean, a lot of them were tourists. Were they just on normal tours? Do you know anything about this?
I have no idea, no man. Seriously, I don't know. I don't read news.
This is Amir. He's Iranian, and Iran is right next door to Afghanistan. Aside from my camera guys, the rest of the cast and crew here are Afghan. My only consideration upon landing today was trying to figure out how not to get kidnapped, which seems not to be a topic on anyone else's mind but my own.
Under Taliban, to be honest, security is quite good. Whether it's safe for foreigners to come to Afghanistan, there's always that, finger cross element. But yeah, it should be okay.
Isn't the kidnapping happening by the Taliban?
By Taliban, yeah.
So when you say good security under the Taliban, how does that put me at ease?
That's a very good question. Yeah, it's a bit late to ask that question, but
it's definitely too late.
I guess all I can rely on now is my local producers' negotiating skills and the knowledge that everyone in this van would also like to complete this mission equally unscathed. Arriving at our hotel doesn't exactly boost my confidence.
All right, they lift the barrier. 4 guys with big guns and multiple huge barriers just to get into the hotel. 5-star, yes?
yeah.
5-star.
After passing the initial car check, including the under-vehicle bomb inspection, all our bags are scanned by X-ray. As I pass through security, I'm put more at ease as I realize these men are here to protect me and the other hotel guests. But I can only imagine what sort of threat we require this much protection from.
Finally, this is starting to look like a hotel. All right, so I thought it might be interesting for you to see what you get for $60 from a 5-star hotel here in Afghanistan. So, whoosh, king-size bed, TV, desk right here. This is super handy. A prayer rug. Oh, but wait, I'm not sure which direction I should face when I pray. Oh, no problem, right here. This arrow helps you indicate which way Mecca is, so you know which way to face when you pray. Beyond that, it's a pretty standard room, but let me address the elephant in the room. I'm not wearing the bandana right now because I didn't want to draw any attention to myself, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna wear it tomorrow either, and I'm sorry if it feels disconcerting. I know, it's uncomfortable for me too. From here, we're gonna rest up, and then tomorrow, we're gonna get our first taste of the actual city of Kabul.
Kabul is Afghanistan's largest, most populous city, home to 4.8 million people, meaning around 10% of the nation lives here. Believe it or not, some tourists do actually come to Afghanistan. They travel here to wander through the 3,500-year-old quarters of the city, where bazaars still bustle with the same chaotic energy as centuries past. Here, nearly any path will eventually lead you to a unique taste of Afghanistan. Like this, a dish made of only hooves and heads.
That is some soft, supple skin. I gotta do this cow's skin routine.
We'll break bread here soon. But first, I'm headed somewhere else to break my fast.
We're gonna be trying Afghan food for the first time in just a moment. But most importantly today, we're gonna get adjusted to how it's actually gonna work here to film video in Kabul. The problem isn't just with officials who don't want you to shoot, but also with the people themselves. From what I've experienced just in the last day, there are certain people who are open to being shot, maybe for a very short time, but many who want nothing to do with the camera at all. But I do have some good news. Behind me, we have our first location, the location where we're gonna be trying our first Afghan food of this trip, and that food is called Chainaki. I'm told Chainaki means teapot or tea kettle. Chai might sound familiar, like the word chai tea, which means tea. Here, this man is stuffing all of these different ancient-looking tea kettles with mutton. Wali, salam.
Salam alaikum.
Salam alaikum. I don't know what he said, but that sounded very polite.
Wali is a second-generation owner of this 70-year-old eatery, but this cooking technique goes back centuries.
Right here we have a sample tea kettle. He has some different cuts of the sheep, including the dumba, the butt fat meat of the sheep, plus some protein. He stuffs that into the tea kettle.
Water and a pinch of salt follow the sheep meat into the teapots.
The next step is to put dal inside.
Chainaki is food of Afghanistan's nomads, folks who valued portable, practical cooking methods, the type of people who don't don't mind the taste of sheep fat tainting their morning tea.
We're moving on to our next ingredient right here. This is a combination of tomato and onion.
Even after centuries of cookware innovation, a humble clay teapot remains the best choice for Chainaki. Its snug lid traps steam, while its thick walls retain heat, allowing the dish to slow cook for hours at the perfect temperature.
You will actually see there is a wood oven underneath with a fire inside, providing all the heat to these tea kettles right here.
Over the next couple of hours, Wali will be busy tilting, tapping, and timing each teapot, all to ensure each one produces the perfect result. But that is just our protein. In Afghanistan, a meal is not a meal without Afghan bread.
Right now we're in the Afghan bread making factory, making one of the most popular types of bread they have in this country, and this stuff is delicious. In the back of this room, there's literally a bathtub full of dough. Sometimes I'll use a bathtub as a funny form of measurement, like could I have 3 bathtubs full of gravy, please? There's an actual bathtub. The gentleman in the back, he pulls out big globs of dough. He weighs them, and then he forms them into nice, smooth dough balls. Right here, this is where the texture happens. This gentleman right here is flattening the bread, and then on this side, he's kind of perforating the bread, so it'll be easier to tear apart later. Now this guy is doubling up. He's got 2 big slabs of already perforated dough, so his job is just to put moisture on the pillow and put that dough into the oven. You're so quick, you hit the camera. Well done. Handshake? The fist bump, it never got to Afghanistan, unfortunately. This oven's about 12 or 13 feet deep. It is freaking huge. It is like a big sphere. The fire heats up all the clay on the surface of the tandoor. After 4 or 5 minutes, the bread is finished. And then comes this guy. His job is just to take out the already finished bread. Ooh. Okay, I thought it was his job. I guess this guy's doing double duty. Ooh. Oh my God. All right, so right here we have some fresh bread. Beautiful, golden, brown, flaky. This looks incredible. And it smells even better. Those perforated edges makes it easy to tear, and it stops all the bread from bubbling up into one big bread bubble. Nobody wants that. This is literally what it means to break bread. Let me try to feed this guy. I think that's normal here. Either I get slapped or he takes a nice big bite. Here, do you want some bread? There we go. It's a country where men aren't afraid to be men. They're very comfortable with each other. Amazing. When it's fresh out of the oven, it's light, it's crackery, airy, and just full of fresh bread flavor. As good as this is alone, we are gonna actually be pairing it with that Chainaki, which is almost done now. About 3 hours have passed since this started cooking. Now it's time to unveil the final product. Wali, take it away. He peels back this blanket that I guess was helping to hold in the steam and the heat. Boom, there it is. Still absolutely boiling and bubbling away. You can see the meat is really cooked. It's kind of shrunk down. That dumba that's inside has turned the broth into an oily tomato fusion. From here, there's nothing left to do but head to the table and eat. All right, folks, this is our first meal in Afghanistan, and I cannot wait. First of all, it is a tea kettle. I am curious if we're able to pour some broth out. Absolutely not. I think the tea kettle may be clogged. Oh, do you want to take over? All right, he's gonna help me shake it out all the way. Thank you. The food here has undergone quite a transformation. The tomato and the onion have combined with that dumba fat to make a thick, fatty sauce. Here's the thing, no silverware. This is gonna be our eating utensil right here. I wanna start with this sauce that's been made by boiling all those ingredients together. Oh man, that's perfect. People always talk about including acid if you're eating something heavy. So of course we have this rich meat and this rich fat, and he's cut it with tomato sauce. So it's not overwhelming, it's not overly fatty. And the smell of dumba is ever present. Dumba is a type of sheep, but it's also a part of that sheep. And they're using the dumba, that butt fat, inside of this dish. It's like very lamby, sheepy, but in a good way. That's just the sauce though. If you look deeper, we've got big chunks of meat. After hours of braising, that meat should have become soft and tender. This is why I came to Afghanistan. That meat, it's super soft, tender, and fatty. The dal adds a little bit of body to it, and it helps thicken everything up. Right here we have some bone. I'm gonna peel that meat off the bone. Amazing. I know why this shop has been here for 70 years. They're doing something that makes customers very happy. It's very satisfying. This is a food that you have to risk being kidnapped in order to try. This is worth at least 3 months of captivity. 2 years? I don't know. Let's see what else we can find here.
Just outside the Chainaki shop, I stumble into Mandawi, Kabul's busiest open-air market. Here, I plan to search out ingredients that'll come together as this video's final meal.
Boom, right there, the cow head.
But as I merge into the crowd, things take a turn when a man equipped with a rifle grabs my arm.
They're asking for our permit. Let's talk about filming in Afghanistan. As I said earlier, we have permission to be here. Our permit is really focused around food and culture, but there were two things they told us to kind of stay away from. And those two things are military and women. The military stuff makes sense. They don't want us filming any military equipment, any officers, any officials. Women, it's another sensitive thing. Coming here, I thought I would see 0 women. Instead, I've seen some. But in general, the best move is to not film them, to not focus the camera on them, and just focus on the guys. Are there enough guys to film? Oh, there's plenty of guys. With breakfast complete, I've just stepped out of the restaurant. The restaurant is located in Mandawi Market, but exclusively on this road is a special bird market. This is a place where people bring birds of all kinds, all different species, from tiny songbirds to giant freaking turkeys. Right here, oh my God, look at the size of this rooster right here. Very beautiful bird. This man either bought this bird or he plans on selling it soon, but we'll never know for sure because there's a little bit of a communication gap. From morning to now, these streets have gotten absolutely packed. Some people are stationary with their birds. Some are carrying them around, hoping that someone will see their beautiful specimen and buy it off of them. Wow. Take a look at this beautiful specimen. What I'm told is that this is meant to be a pet. I've never seen anybody in the USA with a bird this big as a pet. Here you got it, Afghanistan style.
Mandawi Market has thrived in Kabul's northern edge for over a century, born of Silk Road caravans and royal decrees. Today, its winding lanes still pulse with that old world energy.
Right here, we have 2 superstars for Afghanistan's premier athletic endeavor. I'm talking about cockfighting.
2 different levels, I cannot relate.
Since the Taliban has taken over, this is actually kind of a haram sport. It's not something that's exactly legal, but it's something that continues in the shadows. I mean, all these roosters, they're out, they're in the open. People know what's going on, but the actual fighting, that happens in very secretive locations. We probably won't see that while we're here.
Almost every face you see in this market is a man's. Turbaned elders, young laborers, and plainclothes Taliban whose rifles hang just out of sight. One such man stops me on my way.
Oh, they're asking for our permit.
Here in Kabul, the uncommon sight of an American standing in front of a camera crew is bound to create suspicion. As this is our first day with boots on the ground, I'm still sizing up how big of a challenge the Taliban will present.
Okay, thank you. Wow. I think that's going to be kind of a routine while we're here in Afghanistan, but everything so far, so good.
So far, I've spent the morning feeling out Afghanistan's unspoken borders, testing the limits of where I can go, what I can say, and in which direction our lenses can shoot. Then I ran into these guys, a group of Americans.
My parents immigrated from Afghanistan to America in the late 80s. Myself, my brothers, we were all born and raised in California, spent our whole lives there. So it's been 45 plus years since my parents have been back. So we thought we'll take a little family trip, and we're here for the first time, and we leave in a couple days.
What were your feelings coming here for the first time, especially after the changes this country's undergone in the last couple of years?
Initially, we were a little bit, hesitant. We're like, what's gonna happen, since it was our first time coming here too. But once we landed, just, all we saw were hospitable people. Even this vendor right here, we were trying to haggle with him a little bit on the clothing. He's like, you know what, just take it if you want it.
Nothing that we heard about Afghanistan on the news in America was accurate.
From my own perspective, I wouldn't say Afghanistan is nothing like what you hear about in the news. It's at least something like what you've heard.
Literally a week ago, there's reports of tourists who were held in captivity for 2 years before being let go. I mean, what do you make of that?
I honestly don't know what happened. I don't know those politics of it, and that's in the back of everybody's mind.
Crossing paths with fellow Americans who have navigated Kabul without issue does put me more at ease. Still, a nagging feeling tells me they blend in here much more than I ever could.
Coming to the end of the bird market will bring you here to where you will find the absolute biggest birds you'll find anywhere in Afghanistan. These right here are turkeys. These are used only for food, and they are absolutely massive and juicy. Look at that. It doesn't look like my ball sack. I wasn't going to say that. That's definitely it's not like that at all.
Despite the turkey's impressive appearance, I'm looking for something even bigger.
All right, folks, we have officially arrived at the meat market. Right here, he is toasting up some sheep heads. This is for a dish that in Iran is called Kale Pache. head and hoof. They take the sheep head, they take the sheep hooves, and they braise it for hours until the meat is falling off the bone.
This is a hearty stew that dates back over 3,000 years to ancient Persia. It began as a resourceful dish created by nomads who wasted nothing from their livestock.
It's actually a dish that I tried when I was in Tehran, but here in Afghanistan, they have a plus-size version of Kale Pache. Take a look at this. Much bigger than a sheep hoof. This is, in fact, the hoof of a cow. They're absolutely massive. My plan is actually to buy a couple of these cow feet, and then they're gonna process them here. Sir, you've got some nice feet.
Before landing in the stew pot, the hoof's hard outer shell is peeled off. Then the rest of our trotter is broken down by our street side butcher. But the hooves are only half the recipe.
All right, folks, I've discovered the missing ingredient to our head and hoof. Boom, right there, the cow head. When you make Kale Pache, the sheep head, you can cook the whole thing. You can braise it, it'll cook all the way through. But this is like 7 times the size. So this is gonna have to be split into tiny sections or else it'll never cook through.
Once they reach the restaurant, the cow's head and trotters are thoroughly washed and dropped into a pot of broth. There, they simmer for 12 hours until all the meat becomes soft.
Sir, what's your name?
My name is Mohammed Akram.
Mohammed.
Yeah.
This man is the Kale Pache master. He is the master of everything above the neck and below the ankle. Anything in between, go somewhere else. Let's talk about the magic of this dish. This is a magical broth that only is created after boiling a ton of sheep and a bunch of cow. And all the fattiness from those animals has leaked into this super rich broth. So that's gonna be the base for this dish. Right here, we have some skin. Actually, this is some of the side of the cow head that you see right here. That is some soft, supple skin. I gotta do this cow's skin routine. Right here, if you couldn't guess, we have parts of the hoof and ankle here. So you can see the bone, the skin, the tendon. As time goes by, the more you braise it, the softer it gets and the more delicious it becomes. Another ingredient right here, that's the brain. And then this is beef. I'm told this is actually the interior of the cheek. That looks soft, tender, and delicious too. In a moment, he's gonna actually put this dish together. It all starts with a base of bread.
Mohammed soaks the bread in a rich sauce, then removes the excess. He layers on every cow part we saw earlier, rehydrating them with a splash of broth before pouring some of it off. Into a ladle, he stirs in minced garlic and green chilies, then pours the aromatic mixture over the mound of meat and fat. Finally, he tops it with beef tallow.
This is our final meal of the day, and it is an absolutely heavy one. I think we need to cut that heaviness a little bit, so we have these little bitty lemons right here. That's gonna really lighten up those flavors. This is the beef cheek. Ooh, look how much that's braised and broken down. I'm just gonna eat it straight up. Cheers. Interesting. First of all, beware of bone shards. Did you see how they prepared the head? They just took an axe to it. I mean, it's not exactly a science. If you're not getting bones, the meat itself is soft, it's tender, it's heavy. Adding the lemon gives it a note of sourness, which is nice, but it's not flavorful like that food that we had earlier, like the Chainaki. This is part of the hoof section. There's just so much going on here. I'm not even sure what is what. Is that some kind of layer of skin? Right here, you can see all those little joints, big, heavy, collagen-filled sections of the hoof. Let's try this. That looks kind of like some beef tendon. It's good. It's nice with the seasonings he's put on there, the cumin and some of that chili powder. Oh my God, that is heavy. This is not meant to be a balanced dish. This is known as a very energy-packed food. This is for men who are ready and willing to go to war, which hopefully is not gonna be the case while we're here in the Taliban-run Afghanistan. To break up some of that heaviness, I wanna dig deeper into the bread section. I've never had bread that just tastes so rich. It's really just taken on all the best flavors of this dish. This is the Afghan version of buttered bread. I think we could mix and match a little bit because right here we have some brain. The brain is basically pure fat. So I want to put the brain on top and try that all together. Maybe it'll balance out. Now, I do want to point out one thing. In a second, the camera guy is going to turn the camera 180 and you're going to see a bunch of old guys watching me eat right over there. Hello. Overall, people here are very curious as to what the heck I'm doing here. When I tell them I'm from the USA, I get anything from like, cool, love the USA too. Did you hear that? Anyways, let's give it a shot. Too big of a bite. The brain becomes kind of like a brain paste sticking to the interior of my mouth. The bread is the best part. Oddly enough, the stuff on top, the meat, the tendon, all of that, not very flavorful. But when you get down into that bread, that's where the magic happens. So this is my final meal of the day, but today is my first really full experience of Afghanistan, especially going out into the city here in Kabul. People in general seem much more open to being filmed than I expected them to be. They want to watch, they want to participate, they want us to film them. At the same time, we did have some different police and officials checking us here and there, but it was nothing that lasted more than a few seconds, and it was never done in any kind of rude way. It was just procedure. Today went much better than I expected. At the same time, I want to say that that's just today. That doesn't guarantee anything for the future. All it takes is one stupid person, one a-hole to absolutely ruin your life. And so it's best to be smart, to not push boundaries, perhaps not to go everywhere around the country. We're mainly going to be staying here in Kabul, and by the end of this journey, we'll be traveling to one other city for one special food. But that marks the end of today. We arrived in Afghanistan, we survived a day of eating, and we met a lot of interesting, cool people. Beyond that, the food has already surpassed my expectations, so I can't wait to see what we find tomorrow when we get deeper into the street food of Kabul.